Okay, for the first discussion, we will discuss about, like in the screen, is about the big data environment. So the important thing that we need to discuss about it is before we discuss a lot in the big data and then about the some of the approach or algorithm in there, but you need to uh, I call it you need to understand about the characteristic and then the big data issue in the especially in the perspective of the technology itself and what the big data need for this issue. Yeah, so we will discuss about the big data environments. Okay, the big data itself, I think you has realized and know about it well. That big data is came from the push of the digital transformation that now occurs in every aspect of the life. Yeah, especially in the industry or in the government, in the university like us, is also now facing this issue. Yeah, digital transformation. So the digital aspect or component now push every business sector to transform themselves into the digital zone. Yeah, not only just using the information technologies, which is computers, but it's also using approach that we develop in the computer science or in the computer and the technologies to replace, enhance the quality of the business process. For example, when company or organization decide to move like in the artificial intelligence support for decision making to produce a new product that close with the customer need, that will be one of the example of that digital transformation. It's also like us in the university during this situation, we push the student and lecturers to go not only just digital actually, not only just using WebEx, for example, not just using the Google Meet, but the how we do the lecturing, we do the study, and we do some exercise in the assignment or maybe in the midsem or final exam actually will be transformed in the new way, not only just replacing the old one into the digital tools, but also how we do the business process or the academic activity is we have a mindset of digital transformation. So it's also will be impact into the framework how we see the business itself. Yeah. So like for example, when maybe when we have a normal situation, maybe we still demanding on the lecturing on the class, for example. Maybe lecturer will have a point of view that student need to sit down in the class physically, and also the student will think same with the lectures. But today now we face a new environment, so we doesn't need to bring in the same zone or same time, but at least the material exists in the internet or in the facilities. You can study anytime anywhere, and then the transformation will be came to the academic process that normally will be collect a number or score that you collect from your assignment, but now we can use like tracking piece a milestone, for example, for you, so that will be like difference. Yeah, so we will have a very prospective I call it a new business model in the digital transformation. So in the digital transformation itself have a three component, the main three component. The first component is called data. Yeah, of course we know about it. Yeah, all the uh, all the aspect of technology in the same time it will be produce a data. Yeah, even it is only a simple or a little bit of component electronic that we call it sensor. It will be produce the data for us, like a sensor for air temperature, blood pressure, how many steps that you has done today, all will be collect the data. And the second aspect is like cloud technology that will deliver high-speed internet, high-speed connectivity, broad range of the coverage of the connectivity, and so on. So everything will be connected. in the things, yeah, of course, we will have a lot of traffic, and also we will have a lot of point of data that we can be used for the future. And the third component is the most important thing is not only just data and cloud itself, but the analytic things, the analytics component. So it will be like we only collect the garbage, which we only collect the data. Without analytic, we doesn't have any value. So we need to have the analytic to produce value from the huge data that we has collect until today. So that will be this is the main reason why it is very important for us today to really have deep knowledge in this area, because these three aspect in my word is this is like a three secret weapon for computer science to lead in the sum of the organization. So it's a challenge for you, and also still a challenge for me. If for me, like for example, if we want to be a lead scientists, researchers in university or in the development area, especially in startup, so we need to join this three component and three ecosystem, yeah, data, cloud, and analytics. And for you, for the student, maybe it will be it's very important. You need to realize that your future will be depend on these three component. If you doesn't have any skill in one of these component, yeah, it will be very your opportunity will be more limited. Not will be disappear, no, but it will be limited, yeah. Because if you only you start joining in the, for example, software engineering side without any data, cloud, and analytics skills, so it will be, yeah, you'll be not you just ordinary engineers. But if you have a data, cloud, analytics, you will be have very big benefit for it, yeah. So that will be the first assumption or reason why it's very important. And the third is about the big data definition itself. So if you want to enter the big data environment, so we need to understand what is it big data itself. Yeah, in the word, big data is not only just data besar, for example. It's not like a collecting of data, a collection of data, a collection of huge data. But we're shifting the definition itself from high volume, high velocity, high variety that we call the 5V, for example, now become big data is like collection of data. Or no matter how many volume that you has collect, no matter how much the velocity, no matter how deep the variety, but the most important thing is the collection of data can give us enhanced insight. You can see from the slide, yeah, enhanced insight, yeah, not only just insight but enhanced insight. It's just like we see something in the screen and then you do some reaction from the picture or word or news that you just read, for example. It's just like you do some spontaneous activity. For example, when you are in the middle of nowhere and then you see something not right, and then in that time you do something in a very spontaneous. So that would be in hand inside. Let's say when you see in the street, for example, you see the accident and there is a the young kid, for example, just drop from the motorcycle, and in that time you just go leave your motorcycle and you save the kid, the kid, for example. That's enhanced insight, I think. And then the number two is the data that we collect is make us more easy to do the decision making. So we're not confused. We doesn't need to have a lot of time to do some decision making. And the most important thing is automation process. Automation process is not just like in the manufacturing things. Yeah, when we have a raw material and then we process and then we have the product. Not only just like that one, but process automation is mostly like, for example, today we facing the uh, autonomous vehicle technology. So it's just like that. We doesn't need to involve in the process, and then the system or the application technology will do by themselves. So that will be the process of automation. It means it will be zero error, it will be a no mistake, and then the most important thing is precise. Yeah, and then the result will be the result will be same with our expectation. So that will be the good thing of the big data. So once again, the big data definition will be say like it's not just only collection of data, but now shifting into the enhanced set, decision making, and process automation. I agree with this definition from the Gartner that released by the Microsoft, because it's very related with this situation, today's situation, and current issue. If you still discuss big data only the how much volume that you have, what the velocity, and then how deep the variety, it really is all big data definition. And we also have challenge that big data definition in the future will be changing. So you need to catch the moment, because if you're not, you will still like in the old way of the big data. So that will be very important for you. So if you, for example, in our program, for example, if you sit in your friend final year presentation, and then, for example, the lecturer still discussing about the volume to discuss about the big data definition, it's mean, you know it. It's actually the big data definition is still in the obsolete way. So that will be the first point that you need to understand. And what is the characteristic of the big data actually? Yeah, because we know that the big data is not only just the volume itself. So anything can be big data actually. Yeah, because big data cannot come from the collection of data, but very small data actually, piece by piece of data. But when we collect, it will become huge. We will have a big data. We have a lot of data. So for example, this is like the collection of data that we collect from the Twitter, social media, and maybe from the sensor and from the another tools. Yeah, that will be in this place, this characteristic. Or maybe we only have very few of data, little data, maybe only one or two data. But unfortunately, the size of the data in one file is approximately like 1 terabyte, 1 petabyte, and so on. So it will have a huge data. So that's the matters of the size. Yeah. And also data will be, the form of data can be any type of data, and also have the variety of the data. Maybe for example, like if we have a one file, like sample word file, for example, word processing file, we have the version of the Word 2020, Word 2018, and etc. PDF is also same things, and other things, another variety of data. So that will be like of the very variety of data. Yeah. And then we also can have a big data from the how we acquiring the data. It can be from the real-time process or maybe like batch process. Real-time process is like a near real-time process, like near instant process. So when we see the data in that time, we automatically have the data. Or maybe we just collect the data first and buffer it in somewhere, and then we push the buffer into our site. That will be also the big data. And also the big data characteristic can be like data that have special characteristic. For example, the data that classify as classified data, very confidential data, and so on. So it can be big data too. The big data is not because of the volume, but because of the importance of the data. And then data can be have a value in the future. So maybe for today the data is not really important, but unfortunately in the future it will be very important. So in that time it can be big data also. And this is the most important, I think, for the characteristic of the data. The data is like not only just the characteristic that I discussed previously, but also data that can be linked each other in the future when we connect it, even there is no connection today. So that will be the powerful data. So you can see the illustration that into from the movie or from the another maybe presentation, that when we're discovering something, we can see the big picture of, for example, case or big picture of some things that happen in the future because we know the data exists today. Yeah, well, that will be the good enough. For example, if you like see the one of the TV program, yeah, for example, the flight crash investigation, for example, you can see from the investigator that they doesn't have any information about why the crash of flight is happened, but they can do some. You can find the why it's happened, the factor that make this the crash is happen, because they try to connect it piece by piece evidence that make logic and then confirm why it's happened. So that's within the big data. So it is like in the our computational thinking, it's like algorithm itself. Yeah, when algorithm is like we try to connecting the dot between many variable of data. Even this is using the fuzzy logic or using the neural network, using the basic decision support system algorithm and classification or maybe sentiment analysis and so on. It's actually like connecting the dot between the data, and then we have the classification, we have the assumption, and then we can bring the analytic result. So that would be the big data characteristic. Yeah. So for make you feel better to know understand about this data, let's say you can go to your Google's web browser and then try to type your full name and let's see what happened with you. For example, I will do also with mine. Yeah. For example, wait a minute. I need to move the bar. Okay. For example, when we type the Google's, yeah, and then I type myself, for example, yeah, you can see this one that I have several link of data, and then from this one, this actually the main every data is not connected to each others, and then we also have the video, for example. Okay, we have a several video and about me about, and then the pictures you can relate it and one, and then we also have the news, we have the map and so on. So it is like, you know, the connecting of the data. Google do the same thing because the they do the same thing. They collecting they collect the data and then connecting the dot. Okay, this is the news that the content have a similar word from Mardhani Riasetiawan, for example, and then collecting. And then after we collect this one, you will have analytics thing. Okay, so that will be, it will be like in a personal identification of people, for example. Yeah, so that will be easy way to understand about how the big data works. Yeah, just imagine if we do this challenge not for like Google search, but for example for our data in the nation, for example, in the world. It might be in the small thing is like how if I can connect your data from the same master and then I go to your project account, I go to your maybe I don't know your application in your smartphone, and then I connected each other. So maybe I can do a lot of analytic for you. Yeah. So that's why. For example, maybe I can identify you also where and how you join this class. For example, okay, maybe I can see you. For example, or one of you join this class in the coffee shop, for example, with friend, and maybe you do some meeting too, and so on and so on. And we can do, and maybe I can see you that maybe you do in your small room, in your boarding room, maybe for example, with rebahan style, for example. So this, yeah, you can see. For example, when I looking for you in the to your Twitter, maybe you post something. For example, oh yeah, today currently I just join Pak Mardhani class in the big data, and then I'm in the middle of my room and I'm rebahan. So your picture tell about it, and then I can do some assumption. So that will be the work of the big data. So the big data is not always came from one big system, but we can collect piece by piece of system and then we do some things. So this will be your challenge, because our challenge in the in the in the your challenge in the computer science, and then in this is the real work will be like that. Yeah, you not only just analytics the data in one place, but from many places we do some analytics. Okay, we go to next. So this is the challenge. I think you already know. So what different the big data and the traditional one? I call it the traditional one because sometimes maybe people or maybe lecturer or maybe researchers say that the big data is have comparison with the databases, for example. But the most important thing is we need to understand about why big data is very different with the traditional way. Actually, this is not about the difference because of the volume of the characteristic, but the difference is about the how to think about the data. Yeah, in traditional way, we know that the data is an object. Yeah, some of the term give the defined definition of traditional data is like data is event, is a collection of information that give the note about the event that happened in that time. So that's why we have, like, for example, contract and account. We also have a sales report. We also have the temperature body that we do some medical assessment and so on. The exact of the data, actually, the real of data. But in big data, we not only just discuss about the exact data, but the data that also work for what we call it the event that occur with the data occurs. Yeah, so not only just data. So sometimes we in the semantic discussion we call the big data is also like not only just the data but also the metadata. So the metadata. So that will be the challenge. Yeah. So we collect the data, not only the collection of the event that we recorded, but also why the data is happen. Why this is very important? Because yeah, the main reason is if we have that information, it's mean we will have more more wide perspective or wide view of the data. So in here I'm very like to have this word, yeah, 360-degree view of data. That's very important. So one of the principle as big data engineers or maybe big data researchers is we have some value that the data will, all the data, even the small of the data, we believe that the data will have a 36-degree view of data. Yeah. So for example, for you a student, for example, if you have a GPA today under this semester about 3.5, it's not only just the matter of 3.5, but in the 360-degree view of data is reflecting something. Yeah. So that will be our exploration in big data. Yeah, that's will be the difference. So that's why in here the big data will be consist of call center log. Yeah, so in the call center log, it's not only just your voice, your interaction with the call center, but when you do that one, why the reasons, how you call the call center, what time you consume to collect the to connect with the call center, what the issue, what the progress, and so on. So a lot of things. In social media, is also like the same things. Yeah, not only plus what your post in your social media. So it will be we will have a point of view how you send your post, in what moment that you post the social, and what the feel that you when you post your social media post and so on. So it will be like that. Yeah. So that will be difference. And the type of the data source and big data will be very wide and very broad. Yeah. Yeah, we also have, for example, archive file, yeah, from scanned documents, emails, medical record, yeah, not only just medical record that in the good form, the X-ray, the lab result, and so on. We also from the media, yeah, for example, news media and maybe like YouTube, entertainment media, and so on. We can have the collection of data from there. Yeah, it can be from image, the video, and the audio. Yeah. So, and then we also have the social networking from for example, from the Twitter. We are not only just about the tweet itself, but the like, the action, the interaction in there. So it will be the matter of the social network data. And then, of course, now today we go to the intelligent environment data. So, like sensor data, we have medical devices, wearable devices, everything inside the data. And then the log data, yeah. So we can do some, uh, we can identify people not only from the face, but also the activity in the network, for example. So we need to have the data from the application server, clickstream, and so on. So that will be your challenge in the to understand about the big data. Yeah. So that will be the first assumption and the type of the source of big data. From this explanation, hopefully you get the point that the big data not only just about the data besar or big data, but also it is like the collection of data that can be have a lot of characteristic, and then the source of the data can be many source of data. And then the most important thing is the data have a 360-degree view of data. So that will be the first explanation or milestone for today.